All right, so welcome back to another one, y'all. All right, so today it is a proper fall day, right? I mean, the leaves are turning, it's chilly, it's 40 degrees, it's got that damp fall feel to it. You know, we're getting ready for season to start. So I just got the boil pot in there. It's marinating real good with the walnuts. We're gonna do a video on that here after a bit, but I want to do a video because one of the questions that I get the most over the years is how many traps do I have or am I running, right? Because you know, I mean, for a guy getting into it, it's you know, it can be quite intimidating, right? So every year I go out and I boil my traps. We're gonna paint some traps. We're gonna do other things just to prove. But I've just always boiled my traps. But every year I get them out and I usually do them here on my trailer, and you know, this is about the only time of the year that I've got every trap that I own kind of all together. So I thought it'd be neat. I'll you know, turn the camera on and kind of share with you guys you know, what I've got. So obviously, you know, for those of you that's followed me, you know, you guys have followed me for years. You know the numbers that I put up, you know what I trap, how I trap, different things like that. Now I've never been one to you know, just go buy a bunch of sets or traps and you know, just let them set. You know, I pretty much use whatever I buy. So you know, this is what I've got. I get every single one of these traps go on the ground every year, and for the most part they all make a catch. You know, so you know, it's not that I've got a bunch of stuff just sitting around. That being said, you guys are going to kind of, as I walk through and see, you guys are going to kind of see a common theme in styles of traps and manufacturers, because you know, I find something that I like and I kind of stick with it. So, you know, all that being said, you know, if there's any manufacturers out there that would like to send me something, you know, to review, I'd be happy to do it. You know, my contact information will be in the link below. But you guys will see a common theme. So we're just going to kind of walk through. I'll just kind of show you what I've got, and then I'll talk about numbers first, or numbers after that. So we'll start here with the front. This is kind of the bread and butter here. This is a pile of dog proofs that I have. I've got right around 5 to 6 dozen. I don't know exactly. After I dye all this stuff, I'll bundle it up and package it, or in bundles of 5, wire them together, and then that way whenever I get rolling this season, I can just grab stuff and go. So there's somewhere between 5 and 6 dozen dog proofs here. There's a mix here between the Duke dog proofs and Z-traps. I started out with the Dukes. I like them. They're a pull only style trigger. Whenever Z-traps came out, I bought into those a little bit too. You know, as far as just being the push and pull, I think sometimes it makes a difference, sometimes not. I don't really know, but that's the two that I have, and they've worked great. Every single trap here is paid for, and it's every single one of them has caught coons on them. So there's that. Back here is my pile of 1.5s. I've got between 5 and 6 dozen 1.5s. They're split up now between this pile here and then the pile back there that I've got set up for muskrats. All my 1.5s are Duke 1.5s that I've went through and I've double jawed. I know you can buy them double jawed, but I mean, I went through and I double jawed them. I prefer the 1.5 for my dryland small game set. It's a good trap. It'll hold anything, you know, within reason, and you know, you don't get the chew factor, you know, that sometimes you get with the coons. So these are my small game sets right here. Like I said, there is between 10 and 12 dozen here. You know, which is whenever I get rolling, that's I mean, there's not a lot of times that any of this stuff is out of the ground, right? So over there is that pile there that you guys see. Those are all my canine traps. So there's 3 different styles of traps in that pile. It's split up pretty equally. There is also between 5 and 6 dozen sets in there, split up pretty equally between Duke number 4s, Duke number 3s, and then Bridger number 3s. The Bridger number 3 is the dogless offset trap. The Duke number 4s are 4-coiled, and then the number 3s are just your standard 2-coil. So each one of those traps I like, have advantages, you know, and disadvantages. The number 3's bed awesome. They're probably the best bedding trap I've ever used. I love the dogless fact of the Bridger number 3s, and the you know, the number 4 Dukes are just, they're just a bulletproof, tried and true trap, right? So that's my pile of those. That may seem like a lot for what you guys see me set, but you have to understand that, you know, whenever I set a location, say I go in and I say I've set that location, I'm normally putting in 2 to 3 canine sets in that one location. So if I set 10 locations, there's 30 traps in the ground, right? And you guys have seen over the years. So I mean, you know, like I said, I've never hit anything. You know, I work all year. Whenever I get to rolling, you know, on a standard week, you know, I'll have out somewhere between 55 and 70 sets during a week that I'll check. We have 24-hour check limits here, so that's checking those every day. And then if I get rolling, where I have like vacation time or an extended 4-day weekend or something, I'll normally get, you know, between 115 and 130 sets out. And I mean, that right there, that's a lot of doing to be able to check in 24 hours, right? You're doing quite a bit of checking, being on all private ground. So like I said, you guys can see those, I can have all these in the ground at one time, basically. So we'll move back here to the back here, and let me move you guys just a little bit closer here. So like I said, those are kind of the dryland sets there. We'll move back here to the kind of the half and half sets. These are more water sets too. So I've got my pile here. This is a box. There's 2 dozen 220s in here. 220s are kind of a variable trap for me. I can use them on dry land and I use them in the water. So they kind of flip back and forth. For the most part, all those traps you guys see up there, those are dryland sets. I don't use them for water. I know you could, but you know, over the years, you know, you sell enough fur, you catch enough fur, you get enough traps kind of set up to where you don't have to make that switch, you know, which is sometimes important in a time frame situation. So we got a pile of 220s here, and then over there, that pile there, that's my beaver traps right there. So there's a mix there. There's 2 dozen mixed between MB750s and 330s, right? So 2 dozen may not sound like a lot, but that's about all the ground that I have. I did pick up another piece of ground this year, so I may add some more 330s. But I mainly try to foot trap beavers with footholds, just because, you know, I only get one shot at them. I don't have a lot of ground to trap with them, and I love trapping them with footholds anyway. So that's that. 2 dozen sets. It's worked enough for me, you know, over the years. Then in the back here, these are, for the most part, these are all my muskrat sets. Like I said, there's some 1.5s here. There's 4 dozen traps in that pile, that whenever I go muskrat trapping, that's what I take. And it's split up pretty equally between 1 3/4 and 1.5s. I like trapping feed beds with 1 3/4. I like that high catch, that heavy trap. It gets them down under the water really quick. And then I've also, you know, depending on the numbers, you know, because our water levels fluctuate so much, and all my muskrat trapping is pretty much private ponds, so there's not public ground that I can just go set a good marsh. So it just kind of depends from year to year. So I will take out of my 1.5 pile and kind of feed both, you know, vice versa. But you know, like I said, you could take those 1.5 or those 1 3/4, set them on dry land. But I've been doing this long enough now that I've paid for all my traps, and to me it's worth it just to have kind of dedicated muskrat traps or dedicated dryland traps, where I'm not spending, you know, 2 nights in the middle of season switching traps over, right? So that's the way I do that. So that's the pile there. That's my muskrat sets. And then here in this crate here, this is just miscellaneous conibears. Like I said, whenever I go muskrat trapping, normally I trap, you know, with footholds. But depending on water levels, time of year, different situations, you know, conibears definitely have their place. So I've got a mix here between 110s, 155s, 160s, just kind of a hodgepodge of different sets. They're in one milk crate. I take them with me whenever I go, and you know, it's just kind of a, you know, situational trap. So anyway, that's my rundown. Like I said, you guys can kind of see here. I wrote it down just in case you know, keeping track. So we got 5 to 6 dozen 1.5s, 5 to 6 dozen dog proofs, 5 to 6 dozen canine traps. I've got you know, 3 to 4 dozen there muskrat sets, 2 dozen 220s, 2 dozen beaver traps, and then some miscellaneous. So what it comes up to, guys, is I own right around 23 dozen traps, which is about 275, 280 traps. Do you need all these? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. You don't need them. As a matter of fact, guys, and if I can find the picture, I'll put it up here. The first year that I actually really started trapping, I had 2 dozen sets. And that year, I think I had 146 or 156 coons out of 2 dozen traps. I ended up with like 170 total pieces of fur that I put up between, you know, canines and everything else that year. So you definitely don't need all these traps. It's definitely a luxury just to have them and be able to rotate them out, you know. Once I get up here and I'll get them all dyed and waxed, you know, it's nice to put fresh sets in and, you know, kind of just different things. You don't need 23 dozen traps. And obviously, like I said, you know, that big pile of beaver traps right there, I can't use those on dry land. So those are kind of species specific traps that I can only use, you know, for certain applications. But you definitely don't need them all. I know it's intimidating for a lot of guys. You know, you see this, I've got this trailer full of traps right now, and you new guy coming in, boy, do I need all that? I can't afford that. No, you don't. You know, starting out, you know, you get you a half a dozen canine traps, you get you a half a dozen, you know, small game traps, and pick you up a couple of beaver traps or bigger sets, you know, and you can cover the whole spectrum. And then, you know, as you figure out if you like it or not, or sell some fur or do some things, then you can graduate up. You know, this right here pile has taken, you know, I've been trapping for a long time. I haven't bought traps in a lot of years because there's no need for me to. But it did take several years to acquire, you know, what you guys see here. So anyway, like I said, I get tons of questions on it every year. And like I said, you guys see what I've done over the years. I've documented my trapping for, what, 7 years now on YouTube. So you guys can kind of see what I do. And like I said, every single one of these traps will, for the most part, be put in the ground in a season. So, you know, this is kind of this is what I use. I'm working. There's nothing hanging on the wall for a year. Anyway, hope you guys find that enjoyable, found it interesting. Maybe you guys took something from it. We're way behind this year on getting ready for season, but like I said, I got the walnuts in the pot back there. They're marinating. A few days here, we're going to go ahead and we're going to start boiling traps up and waxing them. So stick around for those videos. Should be fun. So fall is here. This is my favorite time of year. So anyway, guys, be looking out for new videos. We're gonna pump them out this winter. You know, keep you guys up to date with what I'm doing. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed. If you learned something from this, take just a second. If you would, hit that thumbs up button. It really helps me out. Leave a comment. I love reading the comments. If you're new, hit that subscribe button, because, you know, this is the time of year you guys are gonna get a bunch of videos. So anyway, as always, guys, I appreciate the view. Hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll see you all next time.